In today's Legal on 4, more and more people are renting these days because of the tough real estate market. If you're one of those people, there are many legal rights and obligations you should know about before signing a rental lease. Our Legal on 4 contributor Craig Wisnam joins us now, and we're going to break it down for you into 3 parts: before you move in, while you're living there, and when the lease ends. Okay, so before moving in, what should tenants know?
Well, first of all, you have to read the lease and understand whatever it is you're signing. Most leases are actually fairly straightforward, and you can understand the concepts in them. So, if you have questions about how many people can live here, can I have pets, how long is this lease for, make sure you understand all that and you understand how everything's going to work. And make sure you understand it's a legal obligation. When you sign up for a 12-month lease, even if you decide to move out a month later, you're on the hook for an entire year's worth of rent, unless they can get someone else to fill that vacancy.
That's locked, isn't it?
Yes.
You can't really get out of that.
No. You can hope they find someone, and they normally do, but if they can't find someone to rent it, you got to pay that whole year. So that's a big obligation.
And the landlord may put some limitations in there of things that you can and cannot do, right? So
exactly.
Keep an eye open for what you...
Read through the lease. Don't assume it's all the same and it's like a lot of the other boilerplate things. Read through it, take a few minutes, make sure you understand it.
And you should probably inspect the place you're moving into to make sure that there isn't some big damage there, right?
Absolutely, because you may end up being responsible for it under the lease. So yeah, make sure you check the property out. You know how when you get a rental car, you walk around it to make sure there's not a big dent? Do the same thing with the apartment or the house. It's even more important.
Very good. All right, now while you're living there, you should be aware of certain things.
Yes, you've got certain obligations. You've got to keep the place neat and clean and safe. And you also have the obligation to let the landlord know if there's some sort of problem or something. The landlord has the obligation to make sure you have a habitable, safe, clean property. So if the heat or the cold goes out, they've got to fix that. But you've also got the responsibility to tell them. If there's a big leak in the roof, they may be responsible for fixing it, but you're responsible for letting them know about it.
And what about the landlord coming into your property or trying to lock you out of it if there's some kind of issue going on? Do they have the right to come into your place?
Well, there's certain limited rights they have, and there's in some of those resources we're going to mention later. Some great resources out there that won't cost you any money to check out. As far as locking you out, though, in terms of kicking you out of the property, they cannot physically lock you out of the property without a court order where they go through the steps to evict you. But if you don't follow the rules, if you don't follow the lease, if you lie on the application, they may have the right to go through that court process and evict you.
Okay, and now when you're moving out, when the lease is up?
Same thing. You do an inspection of the property with the landlord, document it. You don't want to be blamed for problems that weren't there when you left if the landlord accuses you of damage or, things being dirty and things need to be cleaned.
Okay, you talked about resources.
Resources. There's a couple great ones. They're free. It's the Arizona Secretary of State, azsos.gov is the main site. They've got the Arizona Residential Landlord-Tenant Act, which is where all these laws are. So you can go read all the rules yourself. You will know as much as any landlord about them. They also have something that's even easier to read, the Tenants' Rights Handbook. It's even got some forms you can use for the little typical notices if you have to let the landlord know something, or if you terminate a lease when you've got the right to do that. So this is all on the Secretary of State's website. They legally have to send you a copy of the Residential Landlord-Tenant Act once a year as a tenant, but you can also access it online and read it there.
Perfectly. And again, that website was?
It's azsos.gov. And then you can look on there and find the tenant stuff.
Perfect. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Martha.
Good stuff.